question your sanity on a regular basis?
Question yours.
You question mine? Yes. You see, it's always people who question other people's sanity because they don't want to question their own. You don't have to question my sanity. I don't have any sanity. It's okay. I don't want to be. I don't want to be sane in this madness.
You're promoting Remain.
I'm promoting Remain, am I?
Yes.
Really? Why am I promoting Remain?
Because you're doing it in a sly way.
If I want to stay in
I'm doing it in a sly way.
Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear?
Yes, go on.
If I'm happy with the status quo, I'll vote Remain. No problem.
If you're happy with the status quo, you'll vote Remain.
Okay. Now, if I'm not happy,
If you're not happy,
I've got a choice of abstaining
you can abstain
or vote leave.
or you can vote leave.
If I abstain,
Right.
I lose that vote,
You lose that vote,
which means it's a plus to Remain.
which means
but
it's plus to Remain.
It's not one for remove to
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. We'll see where you're going with that.
So you need to vote one way or the other.
Unfortunately, that's not actually. That doesn't actually pass any of the logical tests. It's actually not
Passes
logical.
mine.
I know it passes yours. The thing is, sir, if I may ask you, have you ever studied logical fallacies? Do you know them? Do you know about logical fallacies?
I did.
Do you know how many there are?
I know what makes sense to me. That's all that matters.
Well, what makes sense to you may be all that matters, and that's fine. I wouldn't spend my time trying to convince you of anything otherwise. I don't care what you vote, right?
What's wrong with my argument?
What's wrong with your argument? Well, you're saying that by my pointing out that it's completely meaningless and that voting doesn't make any difference, I'm somehow promoting Remain. I want to make it really clear.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
Someone said that.
I said, if I'm happy with the
Do you want to borrow the megaphone?
I'll tell you. Yes.
You'll
If
tell
I'm
me.
happy with the status quo,
If you're happy with the status quo,
I can happily vote Remain.
oh, I see.
Right.
So I'll tell you what the problem with your argument. He's saying if you're happy with the status quo, then you'll vote Remain. I'm saying that I'm not happy with any of the choices. Either of the choices.
I
don't want to remain or go out.
Right.
Because I think that that's a trick. That's a trick to suggest to you that somehow, by voting for European nutcases, who are basically killers, liars, cheaters and stealers, which is what politicians are basically on the whole, obviously not all as bad as that, it's 99% of politicians give the other 1% a bad name, right? So what you're saying is that somehow, if I'm pointing out the problems, if I'm saying that the whole thing's a scam, you're saying I'm suggesting you should remain. I'm not suggesting you should do anything. I'm just making fun of the whole thing. I'm just saying the whole thing is a complete joke, and it's worse than a joke. It's propaganda. It's propaganda, just like the flags here. All over the place, British flags up and down there. Propaganda, the establishment saying, we have got you under our control. We control you through violence. We control you with Big Ben, right? What goes on in there. It's all propaganda and make you believe that you, Mr. What's your name? What's your first name?
You've gone way off point.
What's your first name?
Way off point.
To make you think, the whole thing is there to make you think that you have got a say in what happens. You have no say in how you are controlled.
You are encouraging the Remain vote.
I am encouraging the Remain vote. You know what? I don't care what you vote, because it won't make any difference anyway. It won't make any difference to your lives.
Well, don't tell people to destroy their vote.
I'm not telling people what to do. This is a performance art piece, my friend. I'm not telling you what to do. Let me just repeat this. I don't really actually care what you do. This is just a bit of performance art that's trying to provoke you into thinking outside of the box that you have been boxed in with if you watch television and read any newspaper at all. Do you read newspapers?
Yes, I do.
Yes, there you go. See, great example. If you read any newspapers, you are under heavy mind control. Which mind control organisation? Which, it's not a newspaper, by the way, that in itself is mind control. If you think that you read a newspaper, think again. You don't read a newspaper. You read a very clever piece of mind control technology. That's what it is. Which one do you read?
I listen to David Icke as well.
You listen to David Icke as well. Great. So you get brainwashed by another guy. He's another guy. You can make your own choice. That's what you've been led to believe, isn't it? Which newspapers do you read? Come on. Which one do you read? Tell us. Go on, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Because you read, it doesn't make any difference what you read.
You keep going off point.
Go on. No, I'm not. Oh, yes, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I've now been accused of going off point. Can I remind the kind sir that I am a performance artist, and if I choose to go off point, I will. As far as I know, it's not against the law to go off point. Thank you.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Yes, serious question here.
If
I'll be the judge of whether it's serious or not, if you don't mind.
If the whole thing is a rot,
If the whole thing is a...
it's a rot, it's a whole...
It's just an illusion, a trick, yeah?
What's a legitimate alternative?
What's a legitimate alternative? Okay, let's get this straight, okay, if I may.
Yeah, that's a serious question.
A guy gets up on a megaphone, right, just to point out, in a humorous way, that the whole thing is a charade, okay? You then ask this guy on the megaphone to kind of sort it all out, right?
I'm asking you to sort it out.
Well, you kind of are. You're asking me for a solution to the mess that we're in. And my response to you is that we all need to do this together. We cannot carry on with what the establishment wants us to do, which is to give our power away to somebody else, right, which is what voting is. We need to do this together. And therefore, I'd like to invite you all to close your eyes and count to 60, and let's meditate together on the question, what could we do instead? That's your question, isn't it? Basically. What can we do instead, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to meditate on that for 60 seconds. I'm going to close my eyes. If when I open my eyes, none of you are here, I can go home, which I probably should have done a long time ago. Okay, so various thoughts came up in my twisted mind when I was counting to 60. But before I respond to your question, I'm going to ask you the question back. What do you think?
Give me 60 seconds, I'll be around.
Okay. What about anybody else? If this is a farce, what can we do differently? Well, the first thing that came in my mind, no, the second thing that came up in my mind was that love is always the answer. What's the question? Okay? So I'd like to firstly propose that we all, as many people here as possible, just give each other a hug. Right? Let's do it. Especially if you don't give at least one hug to someone you don't know. Secondly, as I said before, I am not the person to come up with the answers. There are many, many people, many commentators, people who are far brighter than me, more educated than me, that have lots and lots of different ideas about how we can live together that are more enlightened than this nonsense. Okay? Lots and lots of people out there all over the internet who have ideas. Yeah? But the first thing, this is what my part in this whole thing, is just to point out to everyone in a funny way how crazy we all are, right? And once we realise how crazy we all are and how ridiculous it is to vote and how ridiculous our lives are, and these newspapers and the media and McDonald's and all this corporate rubbish and the liars and the schooling and the government and all that stuff, once we realise all that, then we can start getting together and seeing if we can come up with something else. But this is crazy. I do not want to be ruled by any psychopaths, any people who will do anything to get power and money. They're not well. These people need to be put away. These people need to be helped. They need therapy. All of them. They need therapy. They need help. Right? But then on the other hand, my other part of the answer, which is the hardest part of the answer, is the solution has to always start with me. The solution has to start with me and making sure that my own house is in order. That I treat people well. That I have good thoughts about everyone and myself, and that those thoughts lead to good, healthy, wholesome actions. And that's the hardest part, because we prefer to point the finger out at other people and say they should change. So, unfortunately, there's no shortcut to it all.